Damas y caballeros, welcome to another edition of the Bleed Los Podcast Live. If you're listening to this on a podcast in the future, hey, thanks for joining us. This episode of the Bleed Los Podcast is presented by our partners at BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your college basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, bracket contests, team matchups, and game trends over at BetOnline. You'll also find updated odds for everything from live games, conference championships, right on through what's happening right now, which is the NCAA tournament, which has the Final Four and the championship game. BetOnline is your college basketball headquarters this season. So head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device today and download the app and sign up, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, which is BLEAV, to receive that bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts. So if you're watching on the YouTube, thank you, first and foremost, for joining us as we're watching this live. If you're watching in the future, again, thank you as well. If you notice, our compadre Juanito not joining us. He is in darkness at the moment, like one Aaron Rodgers, recovering from the Mexico elimination that happened at the WBC. But we have someone pinch hitting, and I believe there's an entrance, correct, Roger?
Yep, he's here.
Yay!
This is San Luis. If you don't speak Spanish, that's the voice, the Latino voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. Polo Ascencio, Polo, a friend of the carne asada. Polo, ¿cómo estamos?
Hey, contento, feliz, very happy. Hola, Roger. Hola, Alonso. Hola, Alicia. Juanito, I don't know what's wrong with you, Juan. I mean, I was in Phoenix with Mexico. I was in Miami with Mexico. As you can see, I am sporting the most sought-after hat in the history of hats.
Correct.
The baby blue and pink. Let me tell you something, guys. When I first saw the uniform from Team Mexico for the WBC, I liked this hat. I liked the uniform. But I asked myself, that has nothing to do with the Mexican tradition of uniforms. No tiene verde, no tiene rojo, no tiene siquiera negro,
Sí.
pink and blue. And then I see them in person, and I still think this has nothing to do with Mexico, but I want that. Yeah. I really, really want that.
It's clean.
And lucky enough, Danny, my boy Danny, he's the PR for the San Diego Padres. He hooked it up along with the clubby. And they asked me, so what size are you? And I said, size 8. Oh, don't worry about it. We have plenty size 8 because nobody has that big of a head, nobody has that big of a head. They hooked it up, and I'm not blaming. I'm not lying. You see the 8 right there?
That's cabezón.
There is 8. That's what she said.
Hey.
So I was just talking to Danny, so he can hook it up with that hat, and I'm gonna have to hit him up.
Not anymore, because now he's with the Padres. So
yeah.
If you want Padres, if you want Caca brown and yellow, go for it. But if you
want
Mexico, you're too late. So 3 years.
Well, let me ask you. So, unbeknownst to you, and even unbeknownst to us, you were a correspondent for us at the WBC. How was el ambiente, man? Because I mean, obviously on TV you see it all, and you can only take in what you can, right? But you're there, you're enjoying it all, and you've been around some big shit. So in comparison, I mean, that's also probably an unfair question too, right? But what was el ambiente like?
Like nothing I've ever experienced. I've been to World Series. I've been to Mexican Baseball League, Winter League. I've been to playoffs in LA, playoffs in San Diego, playoffs in Atlanta with the chop and everything. And that doesn't compare to any of that. For all the naysayers and all the people that say that the games don't count, yeah, maybe the games don't count, but look at the stage, look at the stands, look at the players, look at all the excitement, and look at the way the not only just the finals in Miami were played by the players, by the teams, but the fans. People in Miami, they were not ready for this. Yeah. And when I say people in Miami, the people at the stadium, they told me, you know what, don't even drive there because we don't even know how to manage this, because with all the respect, it's the Marlins. And the Marlins have 10, 15,000, maybe 20. and you know, a lot of the people selling beer and food and everything, they were like complaining. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. Next week you go back to 5,000 people. You don't have to worry about any of this. And they were like, you know what? You're right. You are right. We don't make any tips. We don't make any money. Hey, I'm not lying. You see them. You see them. You know?
I mean, I just didn't realize I had to bring body bags with me to this episode today.
No, hey, I already have like 3 or 4, right? And wait for later. I mean, it was great, bro. I mean, it's coming back in 3 years. It's coming back again, and Puerto Rico wants to have games in Puerto Rico. Mexico wants to have games in Mexico. I would love to see the United States team play outside the United States. You know, send the United States to play in Mexico. Send the United States to play in Puerto Rico, even though technically they're part of the United States, but they are not in the United States. That's another story. Send them to go to Japan. Send them to go to China. See what happens. You know, like Mexico needs to play in the United States, plays in Mexico. Change it up a little like that, and see what Max Scherzer has to say about that. And if he doesn't want to play, believe me, we don't need him.
Well, and that's a great point, because I thought the el ambiente that they had in Japan, that looked next level too. So imagine if let's say the Americans went over there and played Japan, right? That environment would have been wild. And even then, I thought the thing I took away from it all that I could see on TV, the you know, there wasn't as much red assery as there is in Major League Baseball. So what I mean by that, when guys would hit home runs, they would do the college thing. They'd be all around home plate and celebrating, you know, what they did. There was bat flips all over the place, and I didn't see any
guys noticed. If you, Alonso, Roger, Alicia, noticed, in the first round, Team United States was very subdued, doing the little salute, which was really cute, you know, doing that. But then in the second round, they were more like pumped up, more into it. You know, the game against Venezuela. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, one of the nicest guys you can find on and off the field, but he's always quiet. I had a conversation with him last year. Like, dude, you are about to be the MVP. You can enjoy this. You know that, right? You can smile when you hit a home run, right? He looked at me, and I thought he was going to punch me or something. He smiled. He smiled at me. And I'm like, you see that smile? You look really cute when you smile. Imagine all the likes you're going to get in your Instagram. He doesn't have it. If you smile like that. And during the WBC, he was pumped up. Nolan Arenado was so pumped up. I had a chance to talk to all of them, and I know that you guys have alongside with me another special guest. We can talk about that when he's in, and then after he goes, because my experience was great. Was great. Look, I didn't pay $12 for a soda. I did what every other kid does at Dodger Stadium: wait until everybody leaves and then start picking up the cups and then take them home. That's what I did. I just rinsed it. I'm not paying $12 for a soda anywhere at any stadium. I don't pay for food anymore at stadiums. You know.
Why does it gotta be a kid?
That's right. Los cascos. Yeah, I see you, Alicia, with the cascos. Ay, pa mi comadre.
Don't ask her about World Series rings, though. Don't ask her about that. That's a sore subject.
So Polo hinted at it, and our guest is here. So let's bring him in.
He doesn't know I'm here, right?
But he can't see you.
I don't know. Does he know you're here?
Paisa, I can see all of you guys. That's awesome.
The manager for the Mexican national team of baseball, Benji Gill. Benji, first, if I could give you a standing ovation, I would, but I'm cabled up. But congratulations.
Párate, cabrón.
No puedo. Tengo un chingo de cables. But seriously, congratulations. I feel like you've done a victory lap, but in the classiest of ways, because you've put baseball on the pedestal, and it wasn't about Benji Gill, and I respect the shit out of that. So congratulations, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it is. I mean, it's I'm the biggest fan of the WBC. It's over the course of the years, it's helped to grow. I mean, who would have thought that Great Britain, Czechoslovakia, China, because people confuse that Chinese Taipei has had baseball forever. I mean, I remember when I was a kid watching Chinese Taipei play in Williamsport in the Little League World Series, right? But China, they didn't play baseball. Italy, Netherlands, and it's grown. I mean, the first edition had South Africa. So, I mean, for this event to be a big part of why baseball is growing. And to be honest with you, baseball in the 50s and 60s in Mexico was the number one sport. And somehow it's fallen to probably the fourth most popular sport now, with Checo Perez being amongst the best Formula One drivers in the world. As far as viewership in Mexico, it's probably number 4, more than likely, 3 or 4 behind boxing and soccer. So obviously there's not a lot of Formula One drivers in any part of the world, right? But it was an opportunity to really we had to do something special to grow the game in baseball, and the players were able to do that. And the way they did it, the way the games just happened to turn out, the most gratifying thing is when I hear people, in Mexico and Mexican communities in the States saying how our people, right, Mexicans, whether it's in Mexico or abroad, have come together, and how everybody was pulling, and that I saw the numbers the other day. I mean, it was the second. Our game against Japan was the second most watched Spanish telecast in the history of baseball, behind Game 7 of the 2017 World Series. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
For that to happen. And to say that, I mean, I was lucky enough to have a good seat to be able to see the action.
Well, and you got paid for it too, so that's not a bad problem to have. I before I sent it to Alicia, because she actually hasn't been able to chime in on anything yet, so our apologies to Alicia del Valle. I wanted to ask you, it's a very short tournament, right? It's 2 weeks. The World Cup is a month, so the World Cup of soccer, I should say. So that gives an opportunity for the team to actually build chemistry, to understand how to play with each other. Some of these guys hadn't played with each other. Some of these guys, they knew of each other, all that stuff. But and again, even the coaching staff, right? You're all gelling in a very short amount of time. How are you able to kind of rally the troops and have the chemistry that you guys had? And obviously winning helps, but how are you able to kind of get that to go as quickly as it did?
On the coaching staff side, I had a pretty decent rapport with most everybody on the coaching staff. And then we began about, I'd say the first of the year, we started having Zoom calls weekly, right? We'd have one with the pitching area, another one with the offensive area, and then have one with all of us, including Rodrigo and Mariana and Jorge Campillo, which are the front office general managers, and then just a ton of communication with the players, and to be completely honest, I mean, there was some players, the players that play in the States that aren't born in Mexico and haven't played in Mexico yet, probably didn't know who Jose Cardona was, and who Alexis Wilson was, and who Samuel Zazueta was, and who Tito Valenzuela were. Manny Barreda, who plays in Mexico, he did a couple of years ago. He was with Baltimore, and he's played with Atlanta, and so those guys, they kind of knew. But of course, the guys that play in Mexico knew of the guys that play in the big leagues. But some of the guys that play in the big leagues didn't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure Taiwan Walker didn't know who Zazueta was, But the most awesome thing is that when we came together, and something that's very cool that happened is we had our first practice, and right after that practice, we went and had a dinner together, where all the players, all the staff, we had a real nice restaurant in Scottsdale, had mariachi come in and play for a while, and guys were asking for songs, and there was a few drinks. There was some beer and some tequila flowing, and guys just getting to know each other. I mean, that was I thought that was probably something that most people don't know, is probably one of the most important things that happen as far as building a team. But at the end of the day, I think everybody respected each other, and everybody saw how we were 100% committed to making sure that Mexico had a good representative in each individual, and they gelled together as a team and pulled for each other like they had played, um, with each other for if not years, months before, and it was incredible. I mean, I was hopeful that we would build a team, um, and amongst these players. Um, Maybe in my wildest dreams, they go, okay, we have built kind of like a family, but I mean, they did they built a brothership, and I guarantee you that from here on out, whenever they even play each other or they run into each other, even if it's across the diamond, I guarantee you they'll salute and say hi to each other with a big hug, because what the experiences that we lived over the last 2.5 weeks have been incredible.
Alicia, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. And I bet you, Benji, that had a lot to do with your success, right? That brothership, that camaraderie. I mean, you can't, and the short time that you were together. So bravo to you, and for committing to putting that team together and to your success. So bravo. I want to say that first of all.
Thank you.
And secondly, it's a two-pronged question, because I don't know if I could get back in here. I know we don't have a lot of time with you. First of all,
That's okay.
We are the Dodgers podcast, so I have to ask about our guys, Austin Barnes and Julio. How it was, working with those guys, and a lot of Dodger fans did not know that Austin Barnes could and was eligible to play for Mexico. So that was dope, first of all. And
Yeah.
secondly, did you ever find or feel that Mexico was not expected to win much in this series, because there wasn't a whole lot of hype about Mexico in the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, first of all, having Julio was awesome. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I know that after the first game against Colombia, I mean, he was just absolutely dominating the first 4 innings, and then they got to him a little bit in the fifth, and he felt really bad, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? Just let's get the team to Miami, and I promise you'll see a different, better Julio." And he was very focused, pumped up, and the Puerto Ricans just got to him. The Puerto Rican team just got to him in the first inning, which was honestly a shock to me, because of what we had seen from him against Colombia. But I'll tell you what, just like the warrior he is, the competitor he is, after putting up a 4 spot in the first inning, I mean, he came out and I think he struck out the side in the second inning, and then threw 2 more shutout innings. Fortunately, he ran out of the amount of pitches that were allowed within the agreement that we had with the Dodgers. Otherwise, he might have thrown 5. Who knows? But he did an astounding job. And then Austin, I mean, a pro's pro. It was an absolute pleasure to have him. He, 2 weeks before the tournament began is when he found out that he was going to be our number 1 catcher, because Alejandro wasn't able to accompany us. So, and he was like, "Hey, anything you need, I'm all in. Whatever it is that you need." And he also was, the game against Great Britain. I mean, he was like a mentor to Alexis, right? And he was just awesome. He's awesome. It is such a pleasure to have him be on the team and representing Mexico the way he did, so proudly. It was just awesome.
Yeah, and he delivered, so that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Again, and so going in, were you guys like going all in and didn't care what anybody said? I mean, there's still some haters out there who don't even want to give the WBC their love. So did any of that ever come up?
I'll tell you what. I believe that most experts were thinking that we would be battling for the second place in our group, right? Obviously, everybody thought U.S. would be number 1 in our group, and then probably undefeated, and then we would be battling either Colombia or Canada to advance to Miami. You know, we wholeheartedly believed that we were going to go to Miami, and that we were going to get deep into the championship. And in our minds, we were playing for the championship from the first day that I got with the guys on March 7th. I said, hey, make no mistake about it. You guys, we believe that you guys, the talent that you guys have, as long as we play good baseball and we stay focused and disciplined in what we need to do, we'll be playing baseball on March 21st. And, you know, we came within 3 outs of accomplishing playing for the championship. And I'll tell you what, I honestly felt great about facing the U.S. the next day. I don't know if it was just a feeling, right? I don't know if we would have accomplished winning or not, but I felt great about facing the U.S. again. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to pull it off against Japan. And, you know, it's but I will say this. I mean, if I can say one thing is not only am I how proud I am of everybody that was part of the team and our players. I know we finished in 3rd place because we didn't play in the championship, but there could be an absolute argument that we were the 2nd best team in the tournament. Who finished 2nd was the U.S. We beat them in the one time we played them pretty decisively, right? Yeah. And the only team, even though the game, the final game, the championship game was a 3-2 very close game, I guarantee you Japan felt like they were gonna, like, at some point they felt like we better get it done because we're gonna lose this game. That they felt that more against us than they did against the U.S. Right? Not that we have better players per se, but I mean we had a 3-0 lead against them. They put up a 3-spot to tie it up, and then we immediately scored 2. So they knew they were up against a great team.
Yes, absolutely. And we had asked Polo. Polo, I want you to get in here about his experience. He's been everywhere you've been.
Hey, I don't want to say anything because my paisa's probably tired of my voice. I was there from the very first pitch in Phoenix to the last out. And you know, something gives me goosebumps before I even mention any of this. The quality and the kind of persona que Benjamín Gill, okay, Alonso Gill, not Benji Gill. Estamos en un programa que se puede hablar español. Benji Gill o Benjamín Gill.
Touché.
The first time I interviewed Benji was in 2014 when I did my first year doing play-by-play in Mexicali, and he was with Tomateros de Culiacán. And I have a picture, and I will post it later. And he knows who I am. You know, I always make myself as somebody, hey, find me, I'm here. The cameras always find me. Yesterday, somebody from Japan that I know sent me pictures. Hey, Polo, you're in Japanese TV. Oh, my God. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, now I'm a legend in Japan. And something that Benjamin did in a personal level, when the game ended in Japan and he was doing a couple of interviews, all the team was waiting for him in the clubhouse. And I'm just standing next to him and I'm like, hey, Paisa, next time we'll get him. Lo agarramos para la próxima. And then he tells me, Paisa, come with me. And then I keep walking and he's going to the clubhouse and I stop. And then Danny, the PR guy for Team Mexico, looks at me. And then Paisa again looks at me. He's like, Paisa, come with me. So he said it twice. Come where? To the clubhouse, where I'm not supposed to be because I'm media, right? But he understands how much I love this. He understands how much I put into this, because I knew from before anybody out there knew that he was going to be the manager. I knew that because he told me, and Manny Del Campo, another great guy from the Angels, told me, hey, Polo, any Mexicans in the Cardinals that can play with us. And I gave him a couple of names, and those names made it to the team. And he brought me in to do that heartfelt speech at the end when we were, when we lost to Japan. And like he said, there was nobody crying. There was nobody upset. A little bit of frustration because we had them, 3 outs away. But it was a feeling of a very refreshing feeling to see that group of people behind this guy right here, behind Vini Castilla, behind los Hermanos Magallanes, behind everybody, Tony Perechica, everybody who was there, part of the clubhouse and the coaching staff. For me to be there, that moment, I will never forget that, Benji, Paisano. I mean, I love you. I've never said that, but now I'm saying it. You are it, bro. You are it. And like I said, to all the pinche haters out there that were hating on you when they called you the manager, you know what's up. You know what they did. And all we have to do is thank you. Thank the team. And when I say thank the team, thank everybody, the clubbies, the Bob Boy. Yeah. Like he mentions Mariana Patraca, another person that I know forever that actually helped put this team together. What you guys did, Benjamin, it went beyond everything. And like you said during that speech, the tournament for us ends right here, but this doesn't end right here, because in Mexico and even in the United States, and I talked about this with Dougie Verdugo, with Rowdy Tellez, with Alec Thomas, there's a lot of kids like you out there, maybe even your son, Mateo Gil, that don't speak a lot of Spanish, but they feel the Mexican culture in them. And now those kids, they have a country, they have a team, they have somebody to relate to. And that, Benji, I think that goes beyond baseball, like you said, and you have to be extremely proud, not just of the third place, but of the legacy of this team. And I know that in 3 years, I hope you're not the manager in 3 years. And let me tell you why. Because I hope in 3 years, you're managing in the big leagues. And if you're managing anybody, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Padres, obviously you won't be able to manage Team Mexico. So that's why I hope you're not. But if you're not managing somewhere in the big leagues, I just cannot wait to see what you said there. It's like next year, we're taking that trofeo back home, and I hope you do. I mean, seriously, thank you for what you did, your staff, because without you, that stuff doesn't function. And without that stuff, you don't function. But at the end, there's a face, there's a voice, and you were the face and are right now the face and the voice of Mexican baseball. And I mean, seriously, I don't need to kiss your ass because I'm not like that. Los de Tijuana no andamos besándole el rabo a nadie, and you know that. Nadie. and that is what I feel. Thank you again. Muchas gracias, mano, de verdad, por lo que hicieron. It's not a question. It's just me telling you how much I appreciate what you did for the team, for the country, for those kids without a country, because there's a lot of people that feel they don't have a country. And in a personal level, for what you did with me, to me, it's unbelievable. I will never forget it. And for that, I will always be in your corner. If somebody wants to throw down with Benji Gill, they have to go through me and Rowdy Tellez, who's behind me. So let's go.
Thank you.
Let's go,
man.
Paisa.
Paisa, it was a great honor, and I'll tell you what, man. I saw you every day that we were there, man, and it was refreshing to see you. It was refreshing to go and say what's up and give you a big hug. And
con mi micrófono que se hizo famoso. Hey, over 2 million views, Benji. La entrevista que te agarré chinga, over 2 million views. So we became TikTok stars, man.
Hey, and I haven't seen it. You got to send it to me. I got to see it. I told my wife about it. I told my wife and what you did, and she was like, "No." She goes, "You better not have done it." I'm like, "No, I didn't do it. He did it." She goes, "Well, I'm glad he did."
And now Polo's a big deal in Japan.
Yeah,
there you go.
All over the world. He's worldwide.
Well, we have some of our viewers, since we're live, get to chime in, and I just want to make sure that they get their props. They want to tell you thank you. Daniel Ibarra says mil gracias. Pablo XH34, thank you, Benji and Team Mexico, for showing the world that not everything in Mexico is soccer. Thank you, Ariel, Daniel, Simeon, my sister. Hi. They're all watching, and they all just want to thank you, and they were excited that you could join us, especially because of the performance, the charisma, the love. I mean, come on, you guys, can we all admit that Mexico had the best fans? At least they were the most loud. They were the loudest. They were the most colorful.
Con las matracas. Con las matracas por ahí tengo mi matraca.
I mean, just the fans alone were entertaining.
Hey, Paisa. and the sexiest uniforms with the pink and baby blue, man.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet, huh? What did they say? They were because of Cielito Lindo.
Yeah. I was.
Well, Benji, we know you got to run.
No, that's what. Okay, that's what it was, because I was telling them that I didn't like him at first because they don't represent anything with the flag or anything. But once I saw them, heck, I even had my pink microphone, so it all matches.
Yeah.
For those of us that couldn't get the hats, we appreciate them. But Benji, we know you got to run, so we want to respect your time. Pero de hecho, gracias, en serio, gracias por todo que hiciste para el país, para la raza, para todo, ¿verdad? Porque, y como dijo Polo, he said it himself. I agree with him 100%. I think it's a fucking crime that you are not on a bigger pedestal as far as management goes. And you are proof that when you have a team that backs you, it'll happen. I know you talked about that with another friend of the show a couple days ago, and it'll be on Twitter later. So I'm excited for that to drop. But I cannot wait for you to be the manager of whatever major league team, because you won't be able to manage us, and I won't even be mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Obviously, it would be a dream come true, right? It's the end goal, and it'll be, I think, a great victory for Mexico as well. If this happens before 2026, obviously I'll be ecstatic to get the opportunity and represent Mexico day in and day out. I'll do everything that I can to make sure to make the Mexican people proud. Day in and day out. And if for some reason I am not able, right, to be the manager, it would be an honor if I am again. If for some reason I'm not, hopefully it's because I'm managing in the big leagues. Well, you know that whoever claims to be the number one fan of the Mexican national team, they're going to have a great challenge with me. So, yeah, they'll have to go through me to be the number one fan. I mean, I love Mexico. I love baseball, and it was an absolute pleasure, a blessing, one of the greatest moments of my life to be able to be the manager of the Mexican national team, and to be a part of that group of individuals that did everything they could. And like I said, you know, they became a family, and it was a group of Aztec warriors, not necessarily just baseball players.
Yeah.
No, and to backtrack on one thing you said, you didn't hope, you did. You made everyone proud. So thank you. Seriously, thank you. Gracias. Ve a cantar el himno por allá. And thank you, Benji.
And we'll see you in a few days at the Freeway Series, right?
That's the plan.
Okay.
I mean, you'll probably see Polo. I mean, well, actually, you won't see Polo. You'll hear his ass.
No. The Angels are going to St. Louis. We already have a golf time set aside. So we're gonna play golf, and we're gonna play golf, eat barbecue, and play baseball. What else is there to do in life, right?
Man, that's a great weekend.
Yeah.
Un tequila, uno más uno.
No más uno.
Gracias, Benji.
Dale, paisa, saludos a tu esposa, paisa.
Gracias, paisa. Saludos a todos, bendiciones. Ya estamos a la orden, lo que necesiten siempre.
Gracias, te agradecemos muchísimo, Benji. Gracias.
Gracias.
There you have it. Benjamín Gill, como me regañó Polo, Benjamín Gill, que es el manager de la Selección de México. Bro, the story about how cuando la directiva supposedly, lo corrieron y todo, and then they brought him back. That's one of the craziest stories I have ever heard. And he elaborates on it and I already forgot the guy's name, so forgive me. There's a gentleman that does WBC coverage that he spoke to about, and there's a clip of it out there already.
Sean Sprading.
What was that?
Sean Sprading, right?
I believe so, yes. Forgive me, whoever that is, for giving you the Bleed Los bump, because I completely have forgotten your name. But man, I mean, Polo, Benji is a real one. He's as real as it gets, and what a good dude. But I am so happy for him because of what he's done, and he's gone about it the right way.
No, I mean, you said it. That story, how beloved he is by his players. I mean, if you don't know the story, I'll tell you. You don't have to wait for that guy or whoever he is. He got fired in the morning.
Yeah.
He got fired in the morning. It's out on Twitter, whatever. Nobody tells him. Like every other news now, I am the last one to know my own story because it's out on Twitter. And when he shows up to the stadium in Culiacan, they say, "Hey, you don't have a job anymore." Okay, yeah, I understand. This team is not, doing the things they're supposed to do. I'm not doing. And I heard the story from from the how to say, de la boca del perro, ¿no?
Sí.
Que él llega and the players start showing up and they're like, what do you mean he got fired? No. What do you mean he got fired? No. If he's not here, we're not playing. If he's not here, we're not playing. And it all started with Oliver Perez, from what I heard. Oliver Perez, the lefty. And he was like, hey, guys, this is what it is. I mean, we all know how much he means to us and how much he loves us. What do you guys say? And they were like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. And the owner of the team showed up. And that's when they told him, hey, we're not going to play. If Benjamín is not our manager, we are not going to play. The players told the owner. And the owner is talking to Oliver Perez, former big leaguer with already a long career, lots of money, I hope, from playing the big leagues for almost 20 years, for 20 years. He was so long in the league, Oliver Perez, that he is the guy who gave up the first hit. No, not the first hit. He has some connection with Yadier Molina about a base hit. I think he gave up Yadier Molina first base hit or first home run or something like that. But and then the owner of the Tomateros asked one of the rookies, say, hey, rookie, you're a rookie, right? If you don't play, you're going to get in trouble. You're playing, right? He's like, no, I'm not playing. So he went from the veteran guy to the rookie. And then he went one by one by one by one. When he was down to 20 players, he's like, okay, I'm not going to ask anybody else. I'm wasting my time. Guess what? Delete the tweet and say everything was a prank. So Benjamín is going nowhere. That's kind of like the story. And that's how much he means to that team. And all I heard from players in Team Mexico at the end, a few of them said, hey, I am not playing for any other team that is not Team Mexico. And I'm talking about the Rowdy Tejas, the Alec Thomas, the Austin Barnes, the Patrick Sandoval from the Angels, the Taiwan Walker. Those guys said, no, if I play next time, it's gonna be with Team Mexico. And I mean, that's if that doesn't tell you what kind of person and manager he is, but more importantly, what kind of person he is with his players, how much he appreciates them, how much he likes them, then I don't know what else you need to look at or need to look for, because that's what you want. That's what going to LA, that's what players did with Tommy. And this, Alicia, you guys know this as fans too, Alonso and Roger and everybody watching and listening. Everybody loved Tommy. Why? Because he will run through a wall for you. The man got in a fight with the Philly Fanatic. I mean, come on, right? So when you find a manager like that, you want that manager and you want to play for that manager. And that is what happened with Team Mexico. On the other side, I don't know if you guys been reading or not, a lot of players from Team USA, they're not saying the name of the manager, but they are pointing fingers at the manager. By the way, he managed this and he did that and he did that. You see?
Yeah.
Mark DeRosa, I'm guessing he was the manager, right? A lot of the players are like, well, that thing should have been that. That shouldn't have been there. That shouldn't have been there. He didn't manage the bullpen right. Team Mexico, we lost. We got in third place, and everybody's happy.
Right.
Giovanni Gallegos, the guy who gave up the last 2 runs in Japan.
I know.
When I went, let me tell you, Alicia, para que no te agüites, para que, so you can come down and can go to sleep at night.
I did think about him all night. I go, oh my God.
He is really cute. He is. So I think about him too. I think about him like that too.
¿Te conoce?
So when I'm again, no, when Benji Gill pulls me in, and I'm looking for my boy because Gio's my boy, right? In St. Louis, we go to lunch, we go to breakfast, we go to dinner together. And I see him, and he's calm, he's chill, he's in his locker. After the speech, I go talk to him. He's like, Paisa, lo raro, the strangest thing is that I don't feel sad. I don't feel mad because I did what I had to do, and those pitches, they just beat me with my best pitches. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
I didn't make a mistake. The pitches that I threw, those are the pitches that I wanted. And he said, I am actually very happy. I'm sad this is ending, but at the same time, I'm happy this happened. So there's nothing for me to do but to go out and keep doing what I can do in St. Louis. So in 3 years, I'll be back here. So, when things like, when you hear stuff like that, Alicia, and I'm sure, you have a good relationship with a lot of players, former and current. And when they open their heart for you like that, I mean, that's awesome. And that's what I said, Benji, he has my respect and my love for as long as he manages. And maybe even for me, he wasn't the first choice when they announced this was going to happen. But once he was named, I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Vamos para adelante con él. I had other names in mind. I had Juan Castro in mind. I had El Chapo Vizcarra in mind. And of course, Benji, because he's in the big leagues. And when they announced Benji to be the manager, I'm like, all right, let's go. And like I said, true story. I have the messages. Paisa, Polo, who's Mexican from the Cardinals? This, and this. And to have one of the Jojo Romero, our lefty, who, by the way, I know he gave up a home run, but if you see that pitch that Yoshida turned, that pitch was on the ground. It was about to hit the freaking ground.
And he just turned on it.
And that got turned on it and made it into a 3-run home run. What do? You go like this.
It's all you can't do.
Right? And Jojo, I approached them last season, like in July, about, hey, Jojo, you're Mexican, right? Okay, so this is what it is. This guy's going to be the manager. Gio is in already. There's a few other guys that are in. You should look into it. He looked into it. He ended up being in Team Mexico. I see his dad in Phoenix, and his dad thanks me. Jojo's dad thanked me for bringing it up to Jojo, because without me telling Jojo, he's not there. He said, so thanks to you, my son is representing Mexico, the land where my dad was born. Not even Jojo's dad, but his grandpa. So when they tell you that, and that's what I'm saying, a lot of people, even my kids, they speak Spanish and English, but a lot of them, their friends, they don't speak Spanish. Yeah. And, when you're in the United States, oh, no, you're not American. And then they go to Mexico, oh, you're not Mexican. Yeah. Then what are we? You know what we are? We're part of Team Mexico. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Don't get me started on how important this game was. When our whole family gathers the way they did for that game, that I don't have to express how important it is. It was just understood. Do you know what I mean? And that went on throughout our neighborhood. And so I didn't get too deep into the analytics of the ratings, but the haters, I listen to a lot of sports radio, Polo, and here in LA, a lot of the haters that hate on the WBC in general use the numbers, and they say, oh, well, the reason Mike Trout says this is because they never win anything. And the reason Japan is because, that's all they have. And their whole life is to beat America. Like, there's all these excuses why the games don't matter. And it didn't help that USA lost, right? Like, so I just feel like Benji Gill, he really is a leader. He's just a leader and of men and in baseball, and he gets it. So someone here was saying, one of our viewers, that he's a class act. I feel like sometimes we throw that word around too much, but he really is, and I think you started with Alonso, he is a class act. So I just feel like he's so good for baseball, Polo. He's the win and all of the teams performing the way they did. You brought up countries that we didn't know they had a team, right? Like, isn't this good for baseball in general? Like, why are there people poo-pooing the WBC? If you want to move it to the middle, I'm all for that, but don't say it doesn't matter, right? Am I wrong?
No. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, this baseball needed this. If we're completely honest, baseball needed this. Whether we like to admit it, Polo and I are very fortunate to work in sports, and it's different sides of sports, but you get to see the purview of it, right? And baseball needed it, because all you've heard about baseball is negativity. Nothing really positive, right? The game is too long.
boring.
it's boring, all this stuff, right? And
bunch
now
of red asses and purists that don't want the game to evolve, and young kids don't play it, and people of color don't play it, or young kids.
And you guys know what? If you go to Mexico, nobody says that games are long or boring.
Exactly.
If you go to the Dominican, the games are not long and boring. If you go to Japan, the games are not long and boring. But here in the United States, people are saying the games are long and boring. Well, I have a message for you. If you have something else to do, go do it.
Yeah.
Right?
If you have something else to go do it. Go find something else to bitch about.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to complain about in baseball. Nothing to complain about in baseball. The game of baseball is great any way you play it. If you play 3 innings, if you play 7 innings, if you play 9 innings, the game of baseball is great. And we don't need to change anything. If you want to put the clock, fine. Put a clock, put the bases, that's fine. At the end, the game of baseball is going to be great. In the press box in Phoenix, I was sitting there in the press box. And in front of me were a couple of gentlemen, national media, whatever, that you see them, you follow them on Twitter, or you just know who they are. And those guys were complaining about the rules and, oh my God, this game is so fast during spring training. Why are we doing this to baseball? But guess what? The WBC didn't have those rules, didn't have the clock, didn't have any of that. They were complaining about the game being so long. So I'm like, weren't you tweeting about the game being too fast 2 weeks ago during your stay in Florida? Now you're watching a game that you want to see, and you're complaining about the game being so long. Well, if one day, and this happens, if one day you have a game that goes, 12, 13 runs, it's going to be a long game.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's just, again, we find a way to complain about something all the freaking time. Just like me complaining about Alonso saying Benji Gill, and not Benji Hill. So it's come on. It's baseball, man. Come on.
But even at that, like for instance, I made this point because someone was saying, was criticizing kind of the format. You basically got 4 playoff games in March before, and then a World Series game in March before the season even started. And I could tell you this, I was, edge of my seat the whole thing during that Mexico-Japan game. It was a classic, and B, it did not feel like it was 3 hours, 20 minutes. It did not feel like it was that long at all.
Because your tension.
Yeah.
I watched from March 10th to the final, I went to 13 games between Phoenix and Miami. The only game that I could have and I didn't go was the game between the United States and Venezuela, who was a crazy game. But I had dinner plans with my boys, and all that good stuff in Miami. So we watched that at a restaurant. But every game, Alonso, Alicia, Roger, and everybody else chiming in, every game felt like a playoff game. The game between Cuba and the United States, yes, it was a blowout. It felt, especially in Miami, that was a high-tension game for perhaps other reasons. So every single game had a touch of drama, a touch of movie-like, and the way it ended. Shohei Ohtani against Mike Trout. I understand Mike Trout's been getting hurt and he's not the same player, whatever. A lot of people saying that. But that's what you want, right? You want Shohei Ohtani against Mike Trout because why? They are with the Angels. They will probably never face each other unless somebody moves on. It would be different if it was Shohei Ohtani against Pete Alonso, Nolan, Goldschmidt, or any other guy out there. Because
the dream matchup.
They face each other.
Everybody wanted it.
Yeah.
That's what people wanted to see. And I can tell you that there was not one person sitting down during the whole at bat. When I see Shohei and Trout coming up, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be fun. Yeah. This is gonna be fun.
It's like a Hollywood movie. Like, you can't make that up. Like, that was crazy. And again, I had to stand up. I couldn't sit down. It was, again, watching with my family, 3 generations. Do you know what I mean? That's important. Like, this stuff, Matt, that's what baseball does for me. But I have breaking news, guys.
What?
So first, gotta send some love and hugs to our friend of the carne asada, Rox Arroyo, Rox Systems. You guys go follow him.
Hey, what's up, Rocks?
So
He's my boy. I know him.
He's joining in with us. Thank you. But it seems that Fernando was spotted yesterday in Quintana Roo with his team, the Tigres, wearing his retired 34 hat.
You mean this one?
Yep,
shirt?
his cap. He was wearing it. I'm like, you gotta get a picture.
I was about to say pictures, or it didn't happen.
He was rocking it.
Yeah, Rocks. Come on, Rocks.
Hey,
Sure, it
better
didn't
than that,
happen.
bro.
Come on now.
He's watching from Cancun.
Hey, no quiere hacer
so love you, Rox.
Quiere ser lo mínimo.
Thank you for the breaking news, and thank you, Fernando, for representing. He knows.
Hold up.
¿Cómo sufre, Rafita?
Ya iba a decir cómo se quitó se fue de la playa para vernos. Hey, must be nice.
¿Cómo sufre, Rafita? No, ahorita en Cancún ya es medianoche y el hombre se duerme temprano. Acuérdate que él está bien. He's connected with the earth and all that good stuff.
Pues que está conectado a un IV de agua ahorita watching us. I mean,
no, right now he's probably naked, the sand like this, like with the headphones, just listening to us.
After he just ate
Love
a
you,
free range steak of some
Rafita.
kind.
I mean, if you were super fit, if we were super fit like him, we would be naked on the beach watching us too.
Hey, what do you
No,
mean?
first of
Look
all,
at this
no.
biceps.
No.
Ya los quisiera Hulk Hogan. Big old
He came out
pipe
to the Stone
right
Cold
here.
Steve Austin music, and now you're gonna call him fat? That's cold-blooded.
You don't have to take a pic.
I know, but hay que estar pelón.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No.
listen, Rafael knows if you're Mexican, tenemos que vacilar. Thanks, Rafael. We appreciate the breaking news.
And thank you for that.
Rocks. He's the and hey, and he knows Benji Gill. He's been part of the celebrations. He's been me in Culiacán. Vente para el clubhouse cuando estamos celebrando. Vente para el clubhouse a echar una chela con nosotros. That's that. And perhaps that's the reason why he's listening. He's joining in because
of Benji. Oh, I'm sorry, Benji.
Once you have Benji Gill. Dile Benjamín para que no te equivoques.
Sí, well, I mean, Benjamín es más fácil, pero es que, I mean,
Sí,
no más es un pedo.
So I mean, once you have a taste of the Gilism, I read that word the other day on Twitter, and some Mexican reporters calling it el Gilism, like la teoría de Gil, la religión de Gil. Ahora ya hasta eso hacen, ¿no? Sí. I mean, once you taste that, you nothing but respect and love for the guy and wish him well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the World Baseball Classic, I love it. And 3 years, I hope to be there. Perhaps part of Team Mexico or part of Team Polo. All of a sudden, I'm a worldwide TikToker. Whatever.
Well, I mean, you might be with Japan apparently. I mean, based on how this is going.
How about on the call? Like, we'd love to have some Polo on the call, right? Calling those games.
You know what? I'll be all for it. If I lost it when Albert Pujols was hitting all those home runs and stuff, I don't know if I can do a Mexico game. I probably have to drink a lot of pills or smoke a lot of weed or something like that, to settle down.
Chill it down.
I mean, you guys, just to tone it down a little. I mean, I'm a very excitable person, but at the end, that's what you want, right? It's an exciting game. You don't want a boring call.
Here, you're good here. What? It's legal here. You don't. It doesn't even need to be for medicinal purposes.
I mean,
no.
And real quick, before we move on, all the props in the world again to Benjamín Gill. Gil, sorry, soy bilingüe. No me juzgues, güey. It's he is. There's no other way. Anyone that's been fortunate enough to be around him knows he is as pro as it gets, and he's a class act. He goes about his business the right way, kind of like whenever you hear, hey, who is your major leaguer? He is a guy that comes up, right? So he is I thought the perfect choice for what it was, and we talked about it with him before. If you haven't, check out our interview that we did with him about a month ago. We all thought that this is kind of like the golden era for Mexico as far as talent goes. They put it on the map, right? They showcased it. They went out and they punched everyone in the face. And I mean, and they had the best baseball team on the planet on the ropes, and they were 3 outs away. So I mean, it's right there. And I mean, Polo, you've seen him play in person. Shohei is no joke. But then you look down the line of that entire roster in Japan is no joke. And they punched him in the mouth. So bravo to all those guys, the clubbies, staff, players, a todos. Moving on, this is a Dodger-centric podcast. And Polo does know a few things about the Dodgers. It also baffles my mind that opening day is a week from today.
Next week.
Yeah. A week from today.
Opening night. Oh, I'm surprised that they are doing opening night again at Dodger Stadium. It's like they don't want all the raza celebrating at the park from 10 in the morning until the game. I mean, I seriously, when I worked with the Dodgers, doing what I did for a few years, it was a party from the minute you walked the park. Hey, I understand, some people get rowdy, but come on, city of LA, come on. I mean, it's a holiday for your fan base. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of those guys and girls pay a lot of money for that ticket, and some of them don't even make it to the seats because andan bien pedos before the game starts. So it's like, come on, man. Why are you thieves of joy?
Thieves of joy.
Also, the traffic is notorious.
Yeah, it's terrible.
On opening day, there's nothing like it. People do not understand unless you've sat in it and suffered. Yeah. It is just beyond any kind of traffic. I don't understand why on opening day it's worse than worse than worse. And now you're moving it to nighttime so that people could be driving home from work at the same time you're trying to get into the stadium. I don't understand.
Polo knows this term because I'm going to drop it. The whole reason they do it is because of our friends at TV. That's literally the reason.
Assuming it's TV, but
yeah, it's always TV though. It's always TV. I know Polo hears that a lot at work. It's always TV.
Hey, dude, that happened. Going back to the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah,
switched.
Yeah.
No, what Benjamin was saying, because Team Mexico was number one in their pool,
and they
were supposed to play on Saturday.
Yeah,
but they thought it was going to be the United States playing Saturday, and when that happened, Fox wants the U.S. on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I was like, really? I mean,
I did want to ask Benji this, but we were up against it. I think they didn't. I think they were cool with it because if the whoever advanced was going to be bruised, battered, and kind of left out to dry, and that's kind of how it played out, right? I mean, the Americans still punched Japan in the mouth, but they weren't the same team, if you will, because they had to use guys.
But they didn't ask them. They didn't ask the team. They told them this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, that's
trust me.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico,
disrespect for the WBC, right? That wouldn't happen for the real playoffs within the season. But
no, that would never happen.
Do you think that they will ever change it the way some people who do like it and see the potential of what the WBC does for the game of baseball? But do you think that that MLB will ever move it so that it's more, so that people like Scherzer will be appreciative and show up?
Who?
Stop ranting. Jeez.
No, it's a perfect no. But what is perfect? Do we want perfection? No. That's why we love each other, because we're not perfect. Nobody really likes a perfect person, because they're so snobby. They look like robots, right? We're talking about some people looking like robots and being perfect and all that good stuff. No, I know when not to bring the body bags out, Alicia.
Yeah,
That's why I'm around. I've been around for this long. So when are you going to play it? Like in the middle of summer when the season is going on? Nobody's going to want to stop the season for 3 weeks.
No.
Like imagine having spring training, then you play April, May, and then June. Then you stop it in June for 3 weeks. What are the members of team that the people that are not playing, what are they going to do? Go home?
Well, and then here's the other thing too, right? Like with that, what's going to be the excuse then? Right, because there's always going to be an excuse. Doesn't matter if you do it now or at the perfect time, if you will. That they said, what's going to be the excuse then? And in my mind, there, like to Polo's point, there is no perfect time, but this is the perfect time to do it, and where it's at now because it's worked.
Well, but so some of the suggestions, and these are actually from the talking heads we talked about earlier, were to do it during All-Star, to extend the All-Star break, and instead of the All-Stars, because honestly, there's way more excitement for WBC than the All-Star game. So would they take out the All-Star game, and you can still have the batting and that kind of stuff, but with the players from different countries? These are some of the suggestions, but I'm not telling anybody what to do. You guys would know better than me, but
no,
we
don't know. We're not that smart.
No.
You know, we're not. According to people, we're not that smart. We don't know what we do. All we do is spend money.
Yeah.
If baseball's going to complain that they need to grow the game, and not just baseball, but people who follow sports and report on sports for a living, then what is the resistance against the World Baseball Classic? I mean, this is set up for you. It was a volley to you. It was hit out of the park, this one, and it can only get better. And I just fear that the success of other teams and losing to Japan and stuff would make them, the haters, even more like, see, cancel WBC, the injuries and all that. I just don't want it to go away because this was so fun. That's all.
I mean, I don't think Rhys Hoskins was playing in the WBC, and you see what happened to him.
Yep.
There's the injuries happen while you're taking out the trash or washing your truck, like it happened to Jeff Kent, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Injuries happen. I mean, I know, speaking of the team that I work with, the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright got hurt. He was not even pitching. He was doing a workout in the gym while with Team USA. He got hurt doing weights. What you're telling me that if he's in Jupiter doing weights, he was not going to get hurt? We don't know that. We will never know. But the guy's out, and he was one of the guys that I want to be Team USA. Is he one of the best pitchers in the big leagues right now? Maybe not, but he had the will, and he had a great participation for Team USA. Yeah. And he was always saying, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to do this." And he did it. And I'm going to ask him, and he's going to answer this way. He's like, "No, I changed nothing. The injury happened because it happened. But if I had to do it again, I would do it again." Right? I mean, there's the reason why Puerto Rico was who it was. Carlos Correa didn't show up because his wife was going to have a baby. The same thing that happened to Alejandro Kirk, the catcher for Mexico. Those are things that, you want to be with your family, we're not going to blame you. But if you don't have a real motive, I don't even want to use the word excuse, a real motive to not be part of it, then shut up and don't comment, Max Scherzer.
I don't know.
I agree with everything Polo just said. I don't think it's out of pocket. I think that's 100. I mean, the truth hurts sometimes, but it's the truth, right?
Hey, if it's the truth, it doesn't hurt because it's the truth.
I just feel that there's some people out there, our colleagues, that are like just mad, just like they don't want baseball to be anything but what it's always been. And sometimes the history of baseball it's not good, right? Like there's darkness and with all history. Yep. This is a chance to be inclusive. This is a chance to bring families together. This is a chance to
grow the game.
Yeah, just love the game. And I just don't understand the resistance. It bums me out because I love baseball so much. And I can just, again, 3 generations of love in our house alone. Imagine just all over the world how crazy that was. So,
well, and before we move on to start wrapping this guy up, don't tell me it doesn't mean anything to anyone when you see how the Puerto Ricos, the Venezuelas, even the Colombias, all those teams, how they reacted to everything, even in Japan, one of the most respectful cultures in the world, right? And you saw that after the, when they were handing out the medals, right? They were incredibly respectful. They were still all up in it and celebratory after they won. So, I mean, don't tell me it doesn't mean anything to anyone when you see
they were throwing each other up.
Yeah.
The manager, Shohei, that's a tradition for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And Shohei, who's generally pretty reserved in public, was very, very eccentric, very, very excited, very outgoing. And again, don't tell me that this tournament doesn't mean anything when you see guys reacting like that, right? How you even going back to Mexico, the reactions that they had going out and doing what they were doing. Granted, winning helps, but still, you're still in it, right? Even Venezuela, up until the last, to the last out, they were still in it. So don't tell me it doesn't mean anything. Go ahead, Alicia.
Well, I don't think that the people that I've been listening to and reading, when they say it doesn't mean anything, they mean for the MLB. They actually don't care about the rest of the world, and that's a problem for me. I should have explained that better, because it's growing the love of baseball, and you don't know when you're going to get your next Fernando, your next Otani, you know what I mean? And then how cool would it be for these players to keep growing the game in the Czech Republic, in Italy and stuff? And then we have those players like on the Dodgers, like, so cool. We're a global team. Yeah. I just don't understand the resistance when they say the WC doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything. They mean for the States. They mean for Major League Baseball. That's how I take it.
No,
I mean, it's interesting to hear that, but at the end, haters are gonna hate.
Yeah.
We're gonna always find something that we don't like. We're always gonna find something that we're not happy with. But focus on the good stuff.
I'm Sunshine Polo. I don't know about what you're talking about.
See, and your sunshine. I can see that. I seriously, I can see that, and I think I'm sunshine with the truth. And the truth might hurt somebody, but you know what? It hurts me sometimes when they tell me, and I tell people, be honest with me. Tell me if I'm good. Tell me if that works. Tell me if that doesn't work, and I'll take it. So if you don't like the WBC, well, I feel sorry for you. You must be a lot of fun at parties. Right? You must be sitting down, on your phone while everybody is dancing, la chona over here, acá echándose unas chelas. And all I have to say is, like, my paisano from Cuba, Randy Rosarena. Boom, take a picture. It lasts longer.
It does. It does. Well, and moving on as we go to wrap this up, I would like my point, because James Outman has made the roster, and if I recall right, I predicted that. Where is my point? Silence. Oh, okay, that's rich. That's really fucking rich.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's
Polo. Sorry, you don't count. Sorry, you're catching the stray as an innocent bystander here.
I'm like, what?
We don't have a point icon yet.
Oh, okay.
To make it. I don't know what you're talking. That's not me.
Wow. Well, James Outman and Jason Hayward made the roster for the Dodgers.
Jason Hayward?
He made the roster.
Cardinals legend, Cubs world champion legend, Jason Hayward, the Hayman. Oh my!
This is proof that baseball is cinema, because we have La Voz from Los San Luis Cardenales here talking about the Hayman. Yeah, he made the roster, and awesome. Then Julio Urias is the opening day starter. We talked about this a little bit, and I mean that's
the guy who's been taking the Cy Young away from the last couple of years.
See, that guy.
Talk about haters, man. Talk about haters.
But
hey, you know what? At the end of the season, he's gonna be ding 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 ding.
He's going to make it rain somewhere in Culiacan, and good for him, because I mean he deserves it.
Buy the whole city. He's gonna buy the whole city.
Yeah, no, para todos. Pero congratulations to James Outman, who's a friend of the Carne Asada, for making the roster. Young man, you congratulations to you, and that's a testament to the hard work you were putting in. It showed all spring. Most people didn't watch, though, no disrespect, because there was this little tournament going on, and that's why we're wearing Mexico hats. So no disrespect to you, James, but you will have your time. Polo, muchísimas gracias for joining us and for chiming in with the truth. And that should be your other apodo, the truth, la verdad. The truth.
When I'm speaking English, I use Polo, the truth Ascencio. When I'm Spanish, Polo, la voz Ascencio.
That's actually not
and I hope you guys make it to St. Louis. Alicia, come to St. Louis. Trust me, it's a beautiful city. The fan base is amazing.
Great food.
Everybody's gonna look at you, because not a lot of people look like you and me in St. Louis, but they're gonna be like, no, yeah, you're gonna be popular. Trust me, you'll be very popular in St. Louis.
Well, we should actually take a field trip and then just go have una tequila, just one with Polo out on the mean streets of St. Louis.
The mean streets of St. Louis.
Thank you, Polo. Thank you. This was so
fun.
Hey, I have my apartment overlooking the arch. I actually requested to have a sofa bed this season, because I'm expecting a lot of visitors. So if you don't mind the sofa bed, there it is.
I think we can all fit. And then hopefully by that point, Juan has gotten his feels in order by the time that field trip comes about. Porque todavía está un poco sentimental ese güey.
Juan, como dice la canción, ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones. Así que, Juanito, deja de llorar. There's no crying in baseball, fool.
From the Japanese legend himself, Polo Ascencio, Alonso, Roger, and Alicia here signing off from the
Roger was
podcast.
here. That's right.
Yeah. This was presented by our partners at BetOnline. Go check them out, betonline.ag. And again, baseball's fun, but baseball's also back. Major League Baseball is a week from today. So we will chat about that next week. But in the interim, we will catch you down the road and go Mexico. We'll see you later.